Let's go to our topic of the week. Indonesia's manufacturing sector activity remains consistently expansive amidst global uncertainties, as reflected in the Indonesian Purchasing Managers Index (PMI). However, global economic slowdown has led to decline in exports of industrial goods.
Indonesia's manufacturing sector expanded at a quicker pace in the final month of 2023. The country's PMI index stood at an expansionary level of 52.2 in December 2023, rising from 51.7 in November 2023, according to the latest report of S&P Global PM. The increase was the 28th straight month of expansion in factory activity and the strongest pace since September, as output growth hit a 4-month peak and new orders rose the most since September. Jing Yipan, Economics Associate Director at S&P Global Market Intelligence, said that December's PMI data indicated that Indonesia's manufacturing sector concluded the final quarter of the year on a positive note, as incoming new orders and output both expanded at solid rates. Forward-looking PMI indicators, including the backlogs of work and future output indices, also trended positively. Overall business confidence notably rose to the second highest level in over a year, while a slight accumulation of backlogged work reflected improvements in demand conditions, Pan said. Indonesia's manufacturing sector activity is better than some ASEAN countries. The headline S&P Global ASEAN Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, indicates 4 of the 7 monitored ASEAN nations have weaker manufacturing conditions. Myanmar's PMI slipped to a 1-year low of 42.9 in December, as Thailand's PMI fell to 45.1 in the same period. Meanwhile, Malaysia also reported a decline in PMI, reading to 47.9, unchanged from November. Vietnam's PMI ticked up to 48.9 in December. Minister of Industry Agus Gumiwang Kartasasmita said the manufacturing business sector still performed quite well in 2023, despite the global economy slowdown. In the third quarter of 2023, the manufacturing industry grew by 5.20%, surpassing the economic growth, which reached 4.94% in the same period. Consistently, the contribution of the manufacturing sector to national gross domestic product, or GDP, is still the highest. For example, in the third quarter of 2023, the manufacturing industry still contributes up to 18.75% to the country's GDP. Looking at investment data, the manufacturing industry contributes up to 40% of the total investment realization, while the contribution of the manufacturing industry to the national exports reaches 73%. Referring to these data, the Minister of Industry is quite sure that there is no sign of deindustrialization in the country. However, the global economic slowdown, especially among Indonesia's trading partners, has caused Indonesia's exports to decline. According to data from the Statistics Indonesia, or BPS, during January to November 2023, exports from the country's manufacturing industry dropped by 3.45% to $171.23 billion compared to the same period last year, considering that they contribute 72% of total exports. The decline in the performance of this sector has led to the decline of Indonesia's total exports.
Indonesia's manufacturing industry has outshined a number of ASEAN countries in recent months. However, global uncertainties have hampered exports of the country's industrial goods. Here, our guest this afternoon, Bapak Andry Satrio Nugroho, Head of Center of Industry Trade and Investment at INDEF. He will share his insights on the prospect of the country's manufacturing industry this year through Zoom. Hello, Pak Andry. Welcome to Economic Outlook.
Hello, Mbak Luisa. Good to see you.
Well, good to see you. Pak Andry, Indonesia's manufacturing PMI index has stood at an expansionary level of above 52 during the last 28 months. And Indonesia's PMI is even better than that in some of the ASEAN countries. In general, how well is the performance of the country's manufacturing industry so far?
Yeah, Mbak Luisa, the performance of Indonesia PMI is indeed in expansion phase. At the end of the year, we see that the expansions of Indonesia's PMI is due to an increase in the demand and faster delivery times and reduced costs that the industry has to incur. So, which is caused by the maintained inflation at the end of the year. However, the achievement of Indonesia's PMI at the level of 52 is not sufficient enough because the target level is at between 55 until 60. So we're at that level, a significant increase in the confidence level of manufacturing industry players will be reflected. So the challenge, I think, this year is that because a difficult year so far, because we don't know the geopolitical risk ahead and the current escalations of the global conflicts, and we see that the decline in China's economy's growth, the current suppressed consumer purchasing power, and of course, this year being political year also provide high uncertainty for our industry players, Luisa.
Well, Pak Andry, despite our manufacturing index being below the PMI target, as you have said, between the target being 55 to 60, Indonesia's manufacturing sector have grown 5.2% in the third quarter of 2023, and this is exceeding the economic growth. Now, according to your observation, what industrial sectors are growing above the average?
Yeah, I think in the third quarter of last year, we observed high growth in a series of industrial sectors, including, I think, the basic metal industry and the electronics industry, which recorded double-digit growth. So both sectors have experienced a double-digit growth since the first quarter of 2023, and we predict they will continue to grow significantly in the fourth quarter. So making these two industrial subsectors the champion of 2023. And with the ongoing industrializations program through downstreaming policy, I think especially in mining products like nickel, the basic metal industry subsector will continue to record positive performance since the ban on raw material or raw nickel exports in 2020. So next year, I think the positive performance of these industrial subsectors, I think, is expected to be repeated.
Now, Pak Andry, let's talk more about the textile sector. How is the performance of the country's textile industry? Because it has been showing a sign of decline in the last several years.
Yeah.
How is it looking?
Yeah, okay. Certainly, we can conclude that the textile industry is in poor condition right now and requires extra handling from the government to improve its performance to the desired level. I think there are three factors causing the decline in the performance of the textile industries. So the first is the surge of imported textile products into Indonesia. So many of which enter Indonesia illegally. This is due to the low global demand, so leading the textile exporters to market their products in Indonesia. And second is the lack of competitive advantage of Indonesia textile, so characterized by the high costs of raw materials, expensive electricity prices, low use of technology, and I think we have also non-competitive labor wages. And the third is the low priority given by the government in addressing the problems of the textile industry. So this is evident from the limited incentives provided by the government to the textile sectors, maybe such as offering relief in delaying the electricity payments or providing tax relief incentives. The government didn't do that. So I think this is the three factor that causing this decline in performance in the textile industries.
Right. Now let's talk about the current condition in the world. Global economic slowdown and as well as rising geopolitical risks have brought a negative impact on Indonesia's exports of industrial goods. Pak Andry, how do you see the prospect of the manufacturing sector for the year of 2024?
So of course, we cannot predict the future, right? Including the geopolitical risks that may arise this year. And what we need to do is prepare to ensure that the performance of our industry remain strong and stable amid the disruptions and geopolitical risks. And we are facing a slowdown in demand from China caused by China's economic growth remaining low, so below the expected projections. And two things need to be done in response to this phenomenon. So first is immediately pursue export market diversifications and tighten import supervisions. So this is because with the weakening of China's demand due to the global demand for Chinese products, and exporters from other countries will start sending their products to Indonesia. So we have to tighten the import from this product. And in addition to the issue I mentioned, such as geopolitical risk and the economic slowdown in China, we must also be cautious about the still low international prices for commodities like CPO and coal. So these two commodities are Indonesia's main export commodities. So Indonesia needs to rely on its domestic markets to withstand the impact of these low international prices by focusing on industrializations. And with the industrializations, the reliance on exports of natural commodities will be significantly reduced. And another issue is that this year is a political year with simultaneous elections, right? And currently, the investors are in a wait and see mode until the elections of a new president. So we predict that the performance of the manufacturing industry will experience stagnations. So as industry players will be more inclined to postpone many businesses decisions to next year rather than this year. So due to the uncertainty risk posed by the election. So this is what we have to be careful for this year.
Exactly, that's what I've heard so far. A lot of wait and see attitude from the investors until the election happens. Now, I'd like to talk about labor now, Pak Andry. As previously reported in the media, labor absorption in the industrial sector is still relatively low. Why is it? Is this due to the automation, or is it due to the lack of our own skilled workers?
Yeah, I think data from 2023 shows that there was a decrease in the working populations or in the manufacturing industry from, I think, 14.17% to 13.8 in 1 year. So the industry sector only absorbs 180,000 new workers. So this is the figure is the lowest, I think, compared to other sectors such as agriculture and trade. So if we discussing automations and the lack of skilled workers, I think both have correlated relationships. So the lack of skilled workers occurs due to the increasingly advanced technology used in the industries. So which is I think predominantly foreign investment, and I believe the factor driving the low absorption of labor is due to the still the low number of skilled workers that we have. And currently, many vocational students are not absorbed by the industry due to a mismatch and gap in skills offered by the vocational institutions. And there's also the gap between the skills and the demands of the industries. And this is also caused by the misalignment of vocational institutions with the industry, of course, and in result, there's many skills taught in vocational educations. It's not meeting the demands of the industry.
Well, final question here, Pak Andry, still talking about our lowly skilled laborers. The government has introduced a link and match vocational education program to cope with the skilled labor gap. Do you think such vocational education will be effective or not?
Yeah, I think vocational education is important, but currently it is still not effective to absorb workers. So Indonesia has not yet integrated its vocational education program with industry, as I said, and this is leading to a disparity between the labor supply and the industry's demand. And various ministries have their own vocational programs, but there is no integrations among them. So in my opinion, this is what we need to be resolved. And currently, I think the government has formed a national vocational work team under the Ministry of Coordination for Human Development and Cultural Affairs. And the current task is to ensure that the regional governments form regional vocational coordinating teams. Moving forward, we hope that the government not only build this national vocational work team, but also the regional vocational coordination teams. And we hope that the government can also provide fiscal incentives to the industry so that actively contribute to vocational education institutions. So the industry will have the incentives more higher than the other industry that that doesn't actively contribute to the vocational education institution, Lisa.
Well, many hopes right there, Pak Andry. Thank you so much for joining us on Economic Outlook, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.